know I've been quiet for a minute. I've been grinding, still in it. I've been counting these digits. Excuse me. I know I've been quiet for a minute, but I'm back on my business.
We have somebody that I know for a long time. I have a lot of respect for. He's honestly like a brother to me. But I'm gonna let you introduce yourself and just give us a quick little something about you, and then we'll get into the rest of it.
Yeah, so thank you for having me. I appreciate it, y'all. My name is Alejandro De La Cruz. I'm a barber here in the city of Las Vegas. I own a barbershop as well, which has been operating for about 6 years now. Yeah, my goal is to, make good relationships with people and, continue to further my career in the barber industry and, meet more people and just offer my services and, have everybody looking good, so...
Cool. So I do want to mention that I've known you since freshman year of high school.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I've told you this, but I remember him telling me during lunchtime, he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna have my own barbershop one day." Mm-hmm. And then as the year would go along, he was like, "I got stuff in my dad's garage," and then he told me one time, he's like, "Oh, I cut you up." And then I was like, nah, because I was nervous about new people touching my hair. Mm-hmm. And now years later, like he has his own place. So like I admire that because
thank you. I appreciate it, bro.
I lost contact with you after high school. And I think a year and a half after I ran into you at a Chipotle, I remember. Yeah. And you were eating. And we reconnected and everything. And then since then, it's been a, forever thing. But talk about, you mentioned the barbershop, right? Talk about, why a barber? Like, what got you into that? Like, why'd you choose to pursue that kind of, career business?
So my dad used to cut his own hair, to try and save some money here and there. And he would ask me to help him get the back of his neck and whatnot. So it kind of started off as something that I was doing just to help out my dad. And then kind of gave me the courage, like, hey, well, I can cut my own hair as well, too, So started doing my own hair. And little by little, I had friends that would ask me to get a haircut. Now you're asking me for a haircut every week. It's like, come on, bro, I'm going to charge you at least $5, So that's cool. Like, as a kid, I was always, had that entrepreneurship mindset of, how can I create funds for myself? How can I be able to make money doing something that I enjoy? Because I understand the concept of working, but be able to do something that I truly enjoy and turn that into, money for myself to be able to provide the things that I want in life. So it kind of just came naturally. It was one of those things where I'm like, man, I'm cutting my friend's hair. We're hanging out. We're talking. We're having a good time. I get them to look good, and at the end of the service, they take care of me. So it kind of just grew on me more and more over the years. Like it's like the further I went with it, the better things got for me. Like I remember, on the weekends before going to my actual job, I would go and do like 2-3 haircuts at someone's garage, and that would be like my gas money for the weekend, and like to be able to go out and buy a T-shirt, and then just over time, I kind of like opened up my own eyes to, hey, maybe I can start a business out of this, like, but I was so young, and I wasn't great with my money, I guess, at that time, so I was like, how can I do this? How can I come up with a concept where I can still create my business and make it fit into my lifestyle? So I remember calling my dad, and I was like, look, Dad, I think the best solution would be if I slowly start buying everything for the business, and I'm going to just send it to your house. Are you okay with that? And he's like, yeah, let's do it. He was super excited. And especially because, like I said, he was like my first customer, to then him being able to see the process of like me putting my business together.
Hold on, how old were you when you started?
When I told him that, I was currently, at the moment, I was about 21 years old. Okay. So I was, very young, very, very, driven to provide success for myself, for my family. So I'm like, opening up a business will allow me to multiply myself in a sense where, I can be able to cater to other things as well, not just cutting hair. And yes, I remember I got the phone call from my dad one day. He's like, hey, you got your first barber chair over here. Because in my head, what I wanted to do is order every single item that I needed to create the business. And then once I had all that, then I can move on to the next step of finding the location.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember driving to his house, opening up that box, you know, taking that barber chair out, and putting it together, sitting on it, like manifesting as if like that chair is like in a business.
Yeah.
And it was cool because it's like, it like fed that drive. I'm like, okay, I have one chair now. Let's get the next chair. Let's get the next chair. Let's get the floor mats. Let's get the mirrors. Let's get this. So eventually it was like I was putting together like my business all in my dad's garage. So it was cool to know that that's something I really wanted to, and I had access to work for it, but in my own terms, based off like how my lifestyle was at that moment.
Okay. One thing that I've told you this before actually, so I want to share it, and I'll let you talk more about it. But during that time, I feel like social media wasn't as big as it is today.
Yeah.
And people were on Facebook. I think MySpace had died already at that time, so it was Facebook. And I remember one day I had already lost contact with him, and I remember one day he put up a video, and he was I'm not sure what the machine's called, but you were cutting the tile in the at your first spot, like building it yourself basically. Right. And I remember I was like, oh shit, he's doing it. I was like, I remember the caption was something about like starting my first visit or something like that.
Yeah, so that spot when I had gone it, the prior business had taped the flooring. It was a mess. They taped this like really thin layer of carpet on top of tile that was on top of concrete. So like it was a mess, you know. And also like I was kind of tight on like the amount of money that I had, and so I was like, you know what, like this will save me a couple $1,000 or whatever. Yeah. Like I'm gonna get my hands dirty and do what I can. So yeah, anything that I can do as far as like helping myself save some money and also, you know, be more involved with the business was definitely like helpful at that time. So yeah, I remember that, having to sit there and we were there for like 15 hours breaking up that floor. It was a lot of work, but sometimes I feel like that's what gives your business more character, yourself. You know, you feel more attached to the business because you feel like you truly put in like your time, your effort, your blood, sweat, tears. Like I literally did that stuff, you know. It's kind of just part of the process. When you want to create something in life that you want to succeed, you gotta be willing to get behind it, go after it. And I'm glad I had, you know, what it took at that point of my life, because I haven't looked back since then, you know. And I've been able to open up multiple barbershops, so it's definitely been a blessing to show myself that I'm capable. For sure.
So like I was saying about the social media, I truly believe that here in Vegas, yes, the social media help like amplify the significance of certain things, but I told you this before as well, that I think you literally put like barbering in Vegas as a thing to talk about. Like I feel like no one talked about it before. It was like, I'm just getting a haircut. Yeah. And then with him, like it had to do with his style too. Like you gotta talk about the mohawk and like how it's like people just gravitated towards you. Like
a lot of people might not know, but back in the day I had a 1 foot mohawk. You know, I like to see myself as like living the rock star lifestyle, just kind of like just living life on my own terms and going after the things that I wanted. But yeah, I felt like social media was starting to take off around that time when I was getting into like barbering. So I've always told people, if you can have the greatest product in the world, but if nobody knows about it, what good is it to you? You know, if nobody really knows about it, it does you no good. So it was kind of like, okay, I have to figure out a way to merge my skills with what I have to offer, and then now also my new business. So I started trying to do like as much marketing as I can with Instagram, taking photos, tagging people, going to functions, events, doing barber battles, anything that I can come up with to create more attention to myself and my business. And thankfully, I mean, within the first 7 months we had opened the barbershop, we were featured on the Las Vegas Weekly as one of the top shops in Las Vegas. You know, I'm barely 22 years old, just opening my own business. So that was very humbling to see that something I created was being recognized throughout the city by you know, some of the most reputable companies, the Review Journal of Las Vegas, and definitely got the exposure that I needed, and it's almost like a validation to like when you want to create something. If it's starting to work out, it kind of like pushes you to like go even harder.
I have to ask because I've heard about the mohawk. I had only heard about it, but were you intentional with everything that you did? I mean, you said that, if your business is not out there, if you're not talking about it, if you're not living it, and I totally believe that. We believe that too.
Yeah.
But I think with social media, I think in the beginning, nobody really understood the power of it and the power of the word of mouth either. So how intentional were you when you first got your first chair to opening up your shop? How intentional were you with the posting and the tagging? Like, did you know it was going to help amplify you?
Yeah. I myself like to know or like hear of like the story behind creations, whatever it is in life, like you hear of a story behind like how something was turned into what it is now. So in my head I was like, like I think it'll be pretty cool if I can show people the process of all the behind the scenes stuff that goes into creating the business. One, it was cool just for me to be able to have it all documented and be able to look back like, hey, I did this. But being able to just show everybody that raw, like, hard work, putting all the chairs together, breaking down the concrete, painting the walls, like, I felt like, hey, this is my time to use it to my advantage, the social media, to let people be more personal with me and be like, man, this guy's really, like, doing this, like, I can hire people to do the work for me, but like I said, I was young and I was trying to save money, so being able to get my hands dirty and put in the work physically myself, and showing that with the behind the scenes of, capturing videos, taking pictures, getting other companies involved with my events that I'm hosting, just trying to create more awareness. Social media is by far one of the best options that we have when it is to having a business, because if you're able to promote it and you're able to be smart with what you do to promote it, then, I mean, it's almost inevitable for it to grow,
Yeah.
And
a lot of it is free, Just take a picture or a video and just post it. Like, why not do it, right?
Sure.
So let's go back in more into the barbershop. So now you're 22, and now it's been, what is that, like 10 plus years? The name of the barbershop?
Fresh Cuts Barbershop.
Fresh Cuts Barbershop. And then you have all the chairs filled at the barbershop. Yeah. So now you're not just the barber or the business owner, you now have a team.
Yeah.
So talk about how do you help the others stay motivated, knowing that some of them might want to have their own place one day as well.
Yeah.
I know there's been conversations where they come up to you and somebody says, I want to be like you, or something like that, right? So how do you, as a leader, how do you project your message to them to keep them motivated and to keep going?
Right. So one thing that, you can ask any of my barbers is that I've always liked to compare myself with them as if we're like coworkers, rather than me creating authority over others because I own the business. I felt like me always being nice and humble and respectful to my employees has allowed me to build a great relationship with everybody. And I've always shared with them, like, hey, if you ever have any questions as far as like you wanting to aspire to have your own business, feel free to ask. Because I feel like at the end of the day, we're all entitled to wanting to have hopes and aspirations of creating our own business at some point, or whatever the case might be. But I feel like regardless, if somebody's going to want to leave, they're going to leave anyways. I feel like it's good on my behalf if I'm able to feel like as if I contributed in some sense by providing them with information that can help them create their business. Because when I got into business at first, like I didn't have any guidance. I didn't have anybody, telling me how to read a lease, what's the first step? Do I buy the stuff first? Do I go look for the space first? It was kind of just like, you know what, I know I'm going to make it happen. It's how do I make it happen? Just digging deep and trying to get down to the bottom of, okay, like how do I dissect the things that I want to create? So, but yeah, having a good relationship with my staff has helped my businesses do well because I'm not trying to micromanage them. I'm not trying to make them feel as if I'm superior over them.
Yeah.
And I feel like that has gone a long way for me throughout the years just because of the way that I treat I don't like to call them my employees, but, you know, the people that I work with, I feel like the way that I treat them allows my business to thrive and do even better.
I think that's a good way to.
Of course,
Yeah.
that is a good way. It sounds like you have like a lot of like leadership skills, but being so young, you like developed them very early on. Was
Yeah.
there a turning point that, like, did something happen to you that made you say, "Oh man, I want to lead this way"?
So I've always been like a very observative person. So, you know, working in the prior barbershops, you know, I would make a lot of observations on how to deal with the customers, how to deal with situations, you know, how the barbers interact with each other, how the business owner interacts with the barbers. I think just kind of tweaking things that I would see and applying that to what I felt would work best with whenever I eventually open up my business, just kind of just base it off of situations that I've dealt with or I've seen. I feel like if you're able to analyze that and kind of tweak it to what you think will make it better is kind of like what my approach was when I started my own business. Just try to make everything that I've gone through a little bit better. Yeah. And throughout the years, it's been getting better. Yeah. I'm still, you know, not perfect. I still, you know, throughout the shops that I've created, you know, each one has been in like its struggle within its own journey, you know, but it's cool because each time I did it, like I learned something new and I get to take that with me. So that's cool.
So I think it's clear and also anyone that is also in business can say that it always takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
And now you're a married man. Mm-hmm. You have a little girl.
Yeah.
And I believe that you can't actually stay motivated 100%. I believe that. But the reason we get things done is because we have discipline.
Yeah.
For example, I might not want to go to the gym tomorrow or today, let's say, but I go to the gym anyways because it's discipline. I'm not motivated to go, but I'm going to go. So now with the family, the daughter, and the business, mm-hmm. How do you keep yourself going when one day you wake up and you're like, man, I don't want to get up today?
Yeah.
So how do you keep yourself going?
Hey, when you have a family, you got a wife and daughter, you know, like they're relying on me. Like it's up to me to be the provider and, you know, to create a good balance. I've heard of many stories throughout the years of people get so caught up in chasing success and wanting to provide more income for themselves that it's almost like they disregard to create those memories, to spend time with the family, to spend time on yourself. So one thing that I've always focused on throughout the years of my, you know, creating my businesses and whatnot is to try to figure out a way to cater to myself, my family, and my business evenly to where I don't just let something over consume me. I tend to be very positive even throughout the most negative situations, and it's almost always an affirmation to when I look at things that way, it somehow always ends up coming out for the better, you know? It's just, at least for me, it does. Like I said, I've dealt with a lot of negative situations, but as long as I tell myself that it's going to get better and I just stay positive and stay busy, it somehow always ends up working out for me. So it's just be positive.
Yeah, and I've gone with him too when we had to get things done, and like we've painted the barbershop. I think we pulled the all-nighter that one time.
We were there till like 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
We're driving to get, I don't even know what to call it, breakfast, dinner. It's like 6 a.m. We're going to Buffalo Wild Wings. Yeah. That was good.
Yeah. So,
I appreciate that. That was a lot of help.
Yeah. No, things like I can vouch for the things he's saying because it's funny because I'm not a barber, but there's like a running joke sometimes that we've gone out and then he'll be like, "Oh, he's the best barber," but he doesn't cut hair. It's like because like he's got me involved in in that scene, I guess, from just hanging out.
A lot of barber events with us.
Yeah,
for sure.
So I call you Castro.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, and newer people, call you Alex.
Right.
Why do some people call you Castro and some people call you Alex?
So, for those of you that don't know, I was born and raised in Cuba, Havana. I lived there till I was 8 years old, then I moved straight to Las Vegas. I was around my high school year, freshman year. I had a group of friends around the neighborhood that we would go play basketball with. And one of them just kind of started calling me Castro. And I'm like, why are you calling me Castro? He's like, Fidel Castro. That's the president of your country, right? I'm like, so you're calling me by the name of my president? But at first I didn't like it. And then I remember we went to this house party and some guy, I'm introducing myself to somebody and I'm like, oh, Castro, nice to meet you. And he's like, oh, it's Castro now. It kind of stuck to me. And then over the years, it was just kind of like a nickname. So I just kind of just stuck to it. But throughout the years, as time went by, I got a little bit older, became a businessman. Not talking down on people using nicknames, but I was growing and I felt like, okay, I need to figure out ways to be a little bit more professional. And whatnot, so I decided to get rid of the nickname and use more of, like my name. Like I said, my actual name is Alejandro, but I like to use Alex. Yeah. Easier. And yeah, so that's the reason why I decided to just kind of make that conversion. But yeah, they call me that because of the president of Cuba, Fidel Castro.
That's funny. So you're really young, but you said 8 years old. Have you gone back to Cuba, or do you remember at all when you were there?
No, I don't really have much family back home. We do plan on going back soon, but yeah, no, about it.
So sometimes I feel like it's every month. He'll shoot me a text, or it's a FaceTime or a call. But I remember, man, I think it was. Correct me if I'm wrong if you remember the date, but I think it was in 2018. You called me at like 3 a.m. I think it was something like that. And then I could tell he was in the car. And then he's like, guess where I'm going? I was like, oh, fucking no, it's 3 a.m. And then he's like, oh, I got a call to go cut somebody up.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, well, not a lot of information. I don't fucking know. And then you ended up telling me you're going to cut J Balvin.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's so good. Like, he was like popping with, I forgot the CD at that time, but he was all over the place.
Yeah.
Colores, right? Yeah. And I think he was at the Palms, right? At Chaos. He was still around. Yeah. But I know you've had the opportunity to cut up a lot of famous people. Yeah. Talk about that.
So yeah, cutting hair throughout the years has been a blessing. Just not even necessarily the high profile celebrities, but I mean just the relationships that I've been able to create. I mean with you, with a lot of good friends of mine, customers, athletes, actors, singers. Cutting hair has provided for me some of the best relationships that I can dream of, because if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be able to have that 1 hour in the chair with all these people. Mm-hmm. And, I've been able to learn a lot through them as well. But yeah, that event that you're talking about, me and my wife had gone out to a Daddy Yankee concert. We get home, I'm literally getting ready to go to bed, and my phone starts ringing, and it's like 1 a.m. My wife's like, "Who's that? Why is your phone ringing at 1 a.m.?" And I check, and it's my friend. Shout out to Henry. He's the one that made it happen. He's like, "Yo, what are you doing right now?" I'm like, "I'm about to go to sleep." He's like, "Well, J Balvin's about to perform at Chaos here at the Palms Casino. He needs a haircut. Would you be able to make it happen?" I'm like, "I'll be over there right now." Sometimes you have to make yourself available. That's one thing that I've learned throughout the years. Not everything is going to land on your lap the way you expect it to. So I feel like when the opportunities present themselves, you kind of have to be willing to just make it happen, And I feel like throughout the years, it's always been kind of a last-minute text or a message or a phone call from somebody like, hey, we need you to take care of this person. And not only is it good for my resume to, be able to show people that I have the skill level, or people are willing to, put me on the line as, like taking care of these clients because, they're going to do movies, commercials, whatever the case might be. You got a special events to go to. Like I just did Juju Smith Jr. He had gotten hired to do a photo shoot,
nice. Yeah,
with the magazine. So stuff like that, I kind of just have to be able to make myself available because these situations get put in front of me at the last minute, and it's like it only helps further my career by doing so. So
yeah, that's great. Do you think that you've gotten those opportunities through word of mouth?
Definitely.
From friends and
Definitely
networking?
all word through mouth. And social media too. Like I just recently got reached out on social media. I can't really speak on it yet because the details of it because the show's not out yet, but I just recently got reached out to by like a production company. They say, hey, we work with Netflix. We want to do a show, and we're looking for a barber that's going to take care of the guy that's going to be on the show. Would you be willing to do it? And I was like, yeah, of course. Then that led to not me only doing that haircut on that customer for that episode, but they decided to reach out to me a week later and said if they can actually do another episode and come film me in my business. Wow. So it's like sometimes, like one door opening just leads to another door opening by, the way I put myself out there on my social media. Like that was just them finding my page. Like sometimes it's word of mouth, sometimes it's a referral, sometimes what I have to offer on my social media also, gets the attention of people that are like, oh wait, I see this guy all the time. Like let me see if he can do Terrence Howard's haircut while he's on set. Yeah. Then another artist, like they just randomly come and I'm very thankful that I have access to that, but I feel like I've provided that by the way I am with people and then the services that I provide as well. So it's almost like it just continues to allow better things to happen.
So I think people that will end up listening to this would really like to know more on who you've actually cut. So why don't you tell us a little bit more like the people you cut?
Okay. So let me see. I've done some like football players. I've done like Reggie Bush. I've done Todd Gurley. I've done Jamal Lewis, one of my best friends, Jerome Sapp. Boxers, some of you might know Canelo Alvarez, Brandon Rios, Sugar Shane Mosley. I've done reggaeton artists, J Balvin. I do Lloyd, the R&B singer. I mean, the list goes on.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've been blessed to meet a lot of good people throughout the years. So
that's a good list already, though.
Juju Smith. Yeah, the list goes on. And you know what? At the end of the day, honestly, and I've told like this to my friends and family. Like at the end of the day, I respect my regulars the most because they're the ones that put food on my plate on a regular basis. It's a blessing to also get high-end profiles and celebrities, but to me, like I cherish my regulars more than, what would be, the celebrity customers. But, it's always going to be a good addition to what I already have going on for sure. But
every week on Friday.
Yes, sir. You already know. Yes, sir.
Friday mornings.
Don't be late this week.
And that's like the first time.
It's all good.
So you have a pretty high-profile list of people you've cut up. So 2 questions on that. Is there somebody out there that you would love to cut that you haven't cut? And compared to, I know you just said you appreciate more your regulars, but is there a different approach that you take? Like if you're cutting my hair and then you're going to go cut up J Balvin or something, like is there a different approach? And then who would you like to cut up one day?
Honestly, I take the same approach regardless of who I'm cutting. I think now I'm like more comfortable with just providing my services in general. Like before, like for example, if I'd go do a hotel cut, I'm like overthinking, like who is this person? Like, oh my God, do I have to speak to him different because he plays for this team or whatnot? Yeah. I think it's become more normal to me throughout the years because at the end of the day, we're all just human beings, It is cool to be able to cut someone's hair that's, at a very talented level, whether they're, sports or actor, singer, whatever the case might be. But I kind of just learned to just treat everybody the same. It makes it easier. I'm more normal, I'm more just neutral throughout the conversations, not like forcing anything. You can kind of get the vibe for the, once you sit in their chair. Like I've had people where I'm like doing their hair and they're like on the laptop the whole time. So if you can tell like they're really in tune to what they're doing, you don't want to sit there and go at them with questions. Like, what about this? And that, and you can tell they're like really short. So I've kind of learned throughout the years how to to go about it, how to, make observations based off who the person that's in your chair. But, you know what, honestly, like, somebody that would want to cut their hair, I guess one of my favorite artists is Drake, so I think that'd be kind of cool to cut his hair. But it's one of those things where, like, I don't really reach for people to cut their hair. Like, over the years, it's been cool that the random people that do come are like, oh, I like this guy's music, or I like the way he played on the, on this team. So usually it kind of just happens. I don't really look for it. But yeah.
That's cool. I think that your profession is one of those unique ones that not very many people understand all the skills that you need. Like you just named leadership, social skills, which is very huge today. Not very many people have social skills. They cannot carry a conversation, start a conversation, or notice that someone is on their laptop and kind of doesn't want to talk. So I would ask you this, like, what would your advice be to any future barber or anybody in your type of profession? Like, hey, develop these skills, learn, study. Like, what would your advice be?
Sure, yeah. So one of my best advice to up and starting barber is, be punctual, be clean. But I think for me, one thing that helped was every time I get a new customer in the chair, I almost look at it like if it's an audition. Not in a sense where I'm going at them with questions and stuff, but it's almost like, okay, this is my time to get to know this customer, offer him a good service, clean service, be okay with asking questions to give them exactly what they want. It's one of those services where it has a lot to do with communication. If you can communicate with your customer and really find out exactly how they want their hair, there shouldn't be a reason why you shouldn't be able to deliver that to them, But I've noticed throughout the years, like, a barber will greet the customer, sit them in their chair. Okay, how would you like your haircut today? And he'll be like, okay, let me see. Let me do a 2 on top and a 0 on the sides and line up the front. And I'll literally just see the barber go and start cutting the hair. Do the whole haircut, show them the mirror. Okay, how did that? Good? And then they get up and leave the chair, right? It's like you didn't get to know that customer. There's a lot of people that can cut good hair here in the city, but it's what's going to make them want to come to you. Because when somebody leaves my chair, they're almost like if we're friends already. We're probably going to go golf on Monday or, like whatever the case might be.
Relationships.
And it's like the relationship doesn't have to go outside of the chair, but that for those 45 minutes to an hour that person's in your chair, like they feel happy, they feel comfortable opening up to you, letting you know, whether it's about their personal life or they're going to an interview or they just broke up with their girlfriend. Like, for somebody sitting in your chair and feel comfortable with sharing these things with you is because you made that happen. And you do that by how you interact with the person that's in your chair. At the end of the day, they're the ones that are going to be putting the money in your pocket by the service you're providing. So you have to really take the time to make an effort to kind of get to know them and, just let them know that you're there to take care of them whenever they need you. And I feel that has been one of the best things for me throughout the years with client retention is the consistency that I provide for my customers. If they book, I'm going to be there. I always try to make good conversations. I always keep, like I said, usually I'm very positive, so if I ever have, for any reason, anything that's not the way I want it to be going on at the moment in my life, I still keep that aside from the business because I don't like to project bad energy, So I feel like just always having a good energy and good attitude and make good conversations, my customers love me, just like I love them because thanks to them, I'm able to provide the lifestyle that I have for me and my family. But yeah, definitely get to know your customers, be on time, and give them exactly what they want. There's no reason why that customer shouldn't come back to you.
Yeah, so if you sit in Alex's chair, you get a haircut and a free therapy session.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's why the haircut takes a little longer sometimes. Right?
No, I agree with that. I just got my nails done yesterday.
Oh, nice. It look nice.
But I've had the same nail girl for 7 years now.
Yeah.
And it's an hour and a half every 3.5 weeks.
That's cool.
And we've created a bond. We
Right.
share stories. What are we watching now? Where are you going to go on vacation? You know, she just got married. So now we talk about things, and then we also like reflect back to the past. Like, oh my
Right.
God, remember before COVID, we
Yeah.
did this and I did this color nail. Like, so I agree with you. Like, you have to create a bond with your person, and that's what keeps me coming back.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, you know, people today, they ghost, right? Like,
Yeah.
that became a thing. And I always wonder, like, in a service industry like yours, how do you, like, keep people from ghosting, or how do you develop or create respect between you, the service person, and, you know, your customer?
Right.
Like, how do you provide so that they don't ghost you? Because that
Yeah.
hurts, right?
Yeah,
like,
it does.
as a business person, you're like, what did I do wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd say the relationship that you build can hold more value than how good the haircut itself actually looks. You know, like I've seen barbers that aren't great. They don't have the blurriest fade or the sharpest lineup. But guess what? The client in their chair is laughing. They're sharing with them stories. The barber will bring up like stuff that he told them from like last haircut, which was 3 months ago, and they'll be like, "Well, you remember that?"
Yeah.
And it's almost like showing them that you care makes them like you even more. They appreciate you even more because it's like you're paying attention to them. You're not just giving them a haircut and getting them out the chair. You know, like you're really interested in, you know, the conversation that you're having with them. So I think it's just like natural. You're not like fetching for stuff or like, you know, just trying to like play a role of like, oh, okay, I gotta pretend like I'm cool with this guy. Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, I really enjoy cutting hair. You know, I like being social. I like talking to people. So the fact that I have these people that continue to come back to me and sit in my chair, like, it's almost like something for me to cherish. And continuing to do that is allowing me to continue to grow, even though, like, my rates have gone up. You know, thankfully, people are still see the value in me because of how I am and what I deliver to them as well.
So we're getting close to the end of the year. You know, 2025 is coming up. It's crazy.
Every year goes by faster now.
I feel like as we get older, it's like, what?
I forget how old I am. People ask me, I don't know.
Give people the wrong age. Where let's just say January 1st, 2025, in 5 years, so 2030, where do you see yourself? Whether it's in business and personally.
Yeah. So honestly, throughout these years, I've, you know, in the last 10 years, you know, I've opened up about 5 businesses from the ground up, and, you know, it's a lot of work, definitely a lot of work. So I think I kind of want to take a little bit of a step back from startup businesses, kind of want to dive more into the real estate market and, you know, stocks long term, and just stuff that doesn't require me to create from the ground up. Just, you know, do more research into stuff like that and see where it can go. Yeah.
Okay, and potentially, like, do you see yourself ever leaving the barber business, like you actually cutting, or?
I don't know yet. See, because like for me, it's almost like a therapy. Like I can't, like I'm okay with working a little bit less over time, but like when I was a little younger, I used to be like, oh, I want to retire by the time I'm this age, you know. Like, but then I think about it, and it's like, I would probably go crazy if I woke up every day and like you just don't have anything to do, you know. And I mean, if you're not making money, you're spending money too, you know. So it's like I think eventually I'll just kind of create more of a balance where I cut less, and kind of have time to do other things, spend time with the family. And I love to golf, so you know that'll open up time for that as well. But yeah, as far as like startup businesses, I want to at least take a break from that, but who knows what will happen later on.
Well, let's end it with a little bit about that. I remember when you came to pick me up one time, went to golf, and I actually won. I did. I remember the score.
It's because my back was broken. Spinal.
But I know it's picked up. I've seen you like grow, and I've gone with you a couple times through the years as you've gotten better.
Yeah.
And you've talked about like potentially maybe trying to do something with golf. But I know you love it, so talk a little bit about that.
So yeah, I mean, I grew up playing baseball most of my life. I would play basketball here and there in the streets, but yeah, going back to like it was like around 2018, 2019, I started going to hit golf balls at the range, and kind of stuck to me, and it became something that would allow me to take my mind off of like all the business stuff, all the work stuff, family stuff,
stress.
It was like that time where I can go and just everything just kind of blurs out, and I get to just me versus the golf course. Like, because I like a challenge. I'm very competitive, whether it's against myself or others. And, just being out there is something that I really enjoy. So, I've done a couple of tournaments here and there. But, yeah, I met a really good golfer back in 2020, became good friends, my boy Eric. And he's been golfing with me, a few times a week ever since. So I'm almost to a scratch golfer now. I'm a 3 handicap right now, which I'm very proud of, shooting in the low 70s. I just shot in the 60s the other day, so that was a good accomplishment. It's really hard to do that, so
he's taking challenges, so everybody.
Where you at? Nah, but it's definitely something that I truly enjoy doing. Who knows where it'll go later on down the road? We got to take care of business before we take care of our pleasures.
Of course.
So would I like to go pro? Yeah, it'd be nice, but we got to be realistic. So for now, I'll continue to focus on my businesses, work on my golf game, cater to my family, and then we'll see wherever else.
Gotcha.
Everything else happens, yeah.
Gotcha. Is there anything that we didn't cover enough that you want everybody to know?
If any of you need a home loan, my boy Chris right here got you. Y'all need any marketing done, these are the people to go after. So, yeah.
I appreciate it. You got anything else? Yeah, this is cool, man. We've been wanting to get you on here.
No, yeah, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate
like
it.
My brother, bro, I fucking love it. So take a look at the camera and tell everybody where they can reach you on social media.
All right. So check out my barbershop here in Las Vegas. It's going to be on Instagram under Fresh Cuts Las Vegas all together. And then my personal Instagram account is going to be BarberAlex702. Make sure you book in advance. I do get pretty busy, but yeah, I'm at the shop most of the week, so be looking forward to seeing you guys. Thank you.
Cool, man. Good to have you on here.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate it.
That was so
Thank
cool.
you so much.
Cool.
I know I've been quiet for a minute. I've been grinding, still in it. I've been counting.